What's up, everybody? Zaro here for another Yu-Gi-Oh! 101 related video. This one is going to be a Yu-Gi-Oh! 101 discussions video. I know it's been a while since I've done one of these. It's been a while since I've had time to really sit down and speak to you guys on this level in order for me to do one of these type of videos. And, I got some free time on my hands and I just decided to do one of these today with that free time. So, that being said, this is a Yu-Gi-Oh! 101 discussion video. And for those who aren't familiar with my discussion videos in the sub-series, my discussion videos are basically things that involve the Yu-Gi-Oh! Community itself. Maybe it's something the way that people negatively view people that play the game at a certain age, or maybe it may be the way, you know, people react. It may be having to do with people, treat each other, just something on a social level, in order to get discussion or in order to start a discussion within the Yu-Gi-Oh community. That's basically what the Yu-Gi-Oh 101 discussion sub-series is. It's to get us speaking amongst each other as a Yu-Gi-Oh community. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about card reviews. Now, on the internet and in YouTube in particular, primarily, you see plenty of people doing these Yu-Gi-Oh card reviews, and no two people review the cards the same way, and I'm no exception to this rule. So let me just explain, how I review cards. When I review cards, they're basically reviewed the moment that they're revealed, and what I talk about is if I understand like the backstory of like the card artwork, then I speak on that. Like what inspired this card artwork, or like what inspired this art type. Then I give you, of course, what type of card it is, what type of monster this card may be, the level, the attack and defense of the monsters, and then I give you the card description. Now, sometimes when I do these card reviews for monsters in particular, or spells and traps at times, sometimes the card description can be kind of confusing. So that's when I take it into consideration that everybody may not have as much experience in the game as I've had. So they may not understand like the quote unquote simple things that other, myself and other experienced players in Yu-Gi-Oh may understand. Like, for example, not everybody understands flip effects. And so like they may be simple to us, but to somebody who may be new to the game, who's trying to learn it, these things aren't so simple to them because they're not familiar with how the game is played. So when I do these card reviews, sometimes I have to break down, the card description piece by piece, because I do take it into consideration in the back of my mind that there is that level of inexperience. Somebody may watch my reviews and they may get confused as to what this effect does or when each effect is supposed to happen. So I break it down piece by piece sometimes if I feel like it's necessary. And, in one particular case, I gotta be honest, I was wrong about a card description. I completely had a blonde moment, I guess you can say, and I just completely botched that review. I meant to put some annotations over that card review, but I will do that on that video. And the guy who commented under that video, he knows what I'm talking about, or she. But yeah, so that's pretty much how I review cards. Now, some people, when they watch my reviews, they feel like I should give my opinions on the card, like what I think about it, what I think this would work good with, what I feel. I mean, like how good I feel this card would work with these other cards that I've mentioned. Is there something better than this? What are some tips and tricks you can give for this card? Uh, Elaborate on the description more. Things of that nature. Here's the thing, and I'm going to just sum this up in one sentence. It is not necessary for me to elaborate on every card. That's pretty much it. The way that they give these effects and the way they explain how they work, on what the card effects are, etc., you pretty much know that this is how it's supposed to work. It is not necessary for me to elaborate on cards that are so self-explanatory that there's no need for me to do that. That includes tips and tricks. Sometimes it is not necessary for me to go into a deep detail as to what this card can go with when it's so obvious what this can go with that it's just no need. Like, it's just not necessary for me to go into deep detail and elaborate on those things. For example, it's if a card gives you the ability to special summon a dragon type monster, and then when that card leaves the field and goes to the graveyard, then you get to search a dragon type monster from your deck and add it to your hand. Why do I need to go into a deep detail about that? It's right there in your face what this card does. So there's no need for me to explain it. Now, sometimes there may be a situation where, even though the card description may be simple, I still may elaborate on it because it could be a little bit confusing. But for the most part, I don't really give out tips and hints and all that other jumbo. My whole purpose for me is to pretty much just like, how can I put it? To poke at your interests, to get you to go out there and search for these strategies, or to search for these other cards or archetypes, etc., what this card can work with. Like, I just don't want to give you the answers to the test. I want to teach you how to get to the answers. You know what I'm saying? Now, I haven't done that in recent videos, I admit, but that's pretty much what I aim to do with the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card review series. I try to get you interested. There's websites such as Dueling Network where they pretty much have every card that's been released in the OCG and the TCG. You can go there and you can look up pretty much any card in the game that has been confirmed for the OCG or the TCG, and you can see it for yourself. So, like, it's right there for you. Like, it's a good archive of every card in the game, and cards that are soon to be released in the game that have been confirmed. As far as like opinions on these cards, I do give my opinions on these cards. One card in particular, the 5D's manga promotional card, Series 5 card. What was it? Flashing Carrot Dragon Stardust. But they called it something else on like another website, like Stardust Radiance Dragon, I believe. I gave my opinions on that. I felt that card worked better than Stardust Dragon, because with Stardust Dragon, it tributes itself in order to prevent a certain card destruction. Now, even though Stardust Dragon prevents, like, it can protect more cards with Stardust Radiance Dragon, it has the same quick activation as Stardust Dragon, but you don't have to worry about losing your monster for, because your opponent, because I've seen people actually try to take advantage of the fact that, your Stardust Dragon goes to the graveyard and then you'll be able to get it back. Of course, if it was synchro summoned properly first. But yeah, I've seen people take advantage of that. Like they'll activate Dark Hole, the person they're trying to protect something or something like that, and they will tribute their, like they will activate Stardust Dragon's effect, tribute the dragon, send it to the graveyard until the end phase, and then they're pretty much wide open for attack. Like they may have a back row for like intimidation purposes, but it's really nothing. But you know, it's less of that type of risk with with Stardust Radiance Dragon because your monster stays on the field. Now it can protect one other card, one face-up card, I believe, or one other card. I can't remember, because it's kind of vague to me as of right now. I really should have looked at that card before I did this. But yeah, it protects one card on the field, you know, and you don't have to worry about losing your dragon. Because certain people, like I said, like they take advantage of Stardust Dragon being tributed in order to activate that effect. You don't have to worry about that with Flash and Carrot Dragon or Stardust Radiance Dragon. I don't know what the official name of that card is. I'm sorry. So I put both of the names in the title, so no matter what you search, it'll, you know, uh, let's search out that video for you. But like I do give my opinions on cards. Maybe sometimes it's not necessary because it's bad. Like another card that I gave my opinion on, for an example, Red Dustin. I felt that card was bad. It had like a little mild, like a little weak burn strategy to it. Like you couldn't exceed summon with it. It was a low level, so even if you were to exceed summon with it, you couldn't do it anyway. You couldn't synchro summon with it. You couldn't fuse with it, I believe, and like you couldn't tribute it. And like when it got destroyed, you gave your opponent like 500 life point damage, or like whose ever side of the field it was on, or like like you gave your opponent 500 life point damage or something like that. Like, and I said, it was better strategies if you're gonna work a burn strategy. I do give my opinions on things like that. If it's necessary, if I feel it's necessary. Certain times it's just so self-explanatory with these cards that you don't need to go and elaborate on things like that because it's right there in your face. So that's all there is to it. Everybody has their own taste when it comes to reviewing cards. I review my cards a certain way, and if it's not necessary for me to elaborate on what this card does, then I won't do it. That's just not how I roll. So that's basically it right there. But other people, they may give you tips and tricks and things such as that. Me, I don't really care to do that because I feel that, again, like I do take it into consideration the inexperience, but I also take in consideration the experienced players. I don't just, omit them from my mind when I do these reviews. Sometimes my mind is on them more than inexperienced players. So I approached it, so more times than none, I approach it with that, mindset that, okay, these people play Yu-Gi-Oh! Obviously they know what goes with what. Like they know, okay, this card works good with the Fire Fist archetype, even though there's no surname relation to it. it's obvious meant to work with an archetype such as that, or maybe this will work good with the Dark Worlds, or maybe this will work good with the Light Swarms, etc. You know what I mean? And the card's effect itself explains that. It has a similar effect to those cards or that archetype or that series of cards, that it's just letting you know, okay, I'm basically supposed to work with this. So it's no need for me to say that. It'll be a waste of time, like, obviously. So that's pretty much it. People, if, like, I have a certain way that I review cards, I don't need to give tips and tricks if it's not necessary, because if it's obvious, it's no need. You know what I mean? So yeah, so that's pretty much it. That's gonna wrap this up, and I'll see you guys for another Yu-Gi-Oh 101 video. Until then, peace.